Hello and welcome to this video, and today I'm going to be going over my most anticipated new manga releases for 2025. This is not all of my most anticipated. I did have to cull the list down a bit because currently on the list is 42, and I'm if I added every single one we're gonna be here all day. So I did cull some of the ones I'm less excited for and kept the ones I'm most excited for, and managed to get the list down to 42, which is still a lot, but it's less than what it was. So yeah, anyway, let's get on with this video and let's go. I did read the descriptions for all of these manga literally right before filming, so I should remember what they're about, but knowing my short-term memory, I'd probably forgotten half of them. So yeah, but anyway, let's get into the video. The first one is called Home Sweet Home, and this is by Minami Mizuno, and it's being released, where's my notebook, by I have information in here. Seven Seeds. Yeah, it's being released by Seven Seas, and the release date is January 28th. These release dates are all subject to change, plus I got all of the release dates for these manga off of the UK Amazon. So obviously if you're in the US, these will probably be coming out sooner. But these are the release dates according to the UK Amazon, which sometimes they change, sometimes they don't. Let's put this here so I can see it. There we go. So yeah, this one is a shoujo romance high school. It's about a girl who's fed up of constantly moving because of her dad's job. So her dad agrees she can continue attending the same school and live by herself under the one condition that she lives with his boss's daughter. But when it comes time to move in with her, it actually turns out this daughter is actually a son, and he's also one of the most popular guys who goes to her school. So now she's living with one of the most popular guys from her school, and it's kind of like a cohabitation sort of high school romance. I thought it sounded good. It's on the list. And and next on the list is a a lot of people asked for it, and that is Fall in Love, You False Angels. This is coming out from Kodansha. It's by Koko Uzuki, and it's coming out on February 11th. This is another high school romance, this one following this girl who is the student council president in the school, and she puts on this very bright, cheerful, happy persona when she's at school, but underneath that she has quite a darker, domineering personality. And this guy, who I think is also on the student council, finds out about this, and he's also got a hidden personality underneath. And I think they're trying to one-up each other, because this one mentions that it's fans of Kaguya-sama and his and her circumstances. So yeah, they both find out about each other's hidden personalities, so they're false angels, because they pretend to be angels at school, but they're not actually. And then they kind of become partners in crime or something like that. And then they obviously start falling for each other. Yeah, this is one of the ones that a lot of people asked for, and I thought it sounded quite intriguing. I know it's a popular one. So yeah, next we have, these are in no particular order, by the way, they're just the order that they happen to be on my Amazon wishlist. Because every year I create a wishlist on Amazon of all the new manga coming out in the year, not the continuations, just the brand new volume ones. And I put them all in a wish list just so I can remember the release dates for all of them. And once I don't usually buy them from Amazon, I usually get them from Sci-Fi, but once I have bought them, I go to the list and I delete them, so that way I can see how many new releases are still left to come out, and So the order I added them to the wish list is the order there in this video, which is kind of the order they were announced as well. But other than that, they're in no particular like favourite order or anything like that. Next is A Star Brighter Than the Sun. This is by Kazune Kawahara, who did High School Debut and My Love Story. This is coming out from Viz. One of the few Viz titles that are on this list. There's like only like 3 of them, I think. And it's coming out on April 24th. Again, another high school romance shoujo series. This one's about a girl who's like taller and stronger than the average girl. And she was childhood friends with this boy who was like smaller and weaker than the average boy. But now in high school she's realised he has grown up and he's now a lot taller than her and a lot bigger than her. He's not the like small weak boy she remembers. And obviously he's very popular now. He's good looking and she's starting to like fall for him. The main reason I put this one on the list is because I enjoyed High School Debut, and this is by the same author. Quite a few of these are on the list due to the author. Okay, next up. This one is Glasses with a Chance of Delinquent, and this is a Kodansha title, but it's being released by 7 Seas on January 14th, and it's by Naruki. Another high school romance. There's a lot of those on this list. But this one is about a girl who just wants a quiet, ordinary high school life. Like, away from, like, people who would, like, bother her. And then she meets this guy who wears glasses, and it assures her he's very ordinary, but then she finds out that in middle school he was a delinquent. But he's kind of assured her that he's past that now, he's changed, but he's still quite quick to get into arguments and fights and stuff. So she may have to say goodbye to her dream of a quiet, like, non-eventful high school life. I know this is another popular one that a lot of people were excited about, including myself. There's one on this list that I have already read, and one that I watched the anime for. This is not one of them. I know this has been out digitally for a while, but I don't read digital, so I haven't read any of it, but I know it is popular from what I've seen of people reading the digital release. Okay, next. The next one is actually not a high school romance. The first one on the list that is not. And that is the Ayakashi Hunter's Tainted Bride. And the story for this one is by Midori Yuma, who is the same author who did Kakuryou Bed and Breakfast for Spirits. Now, I'm not 100% sure whether that's the author of the novel or the manga adaptation, but I think it's the author of the novel. And then the artist is Yamasuke Fujimaru, who did the art for the Alice in the Country of series. This one is a fantasy romance historical series. I think it's also a webtoon. It's coming out from Kodansha on March 25th. This one is about a girl who's due to get married to her fiancé, but then she's involved in an incident revolving around Ayakashi, and she gets cursed, and her face becomes scarred due to the incident. And because of this, her fiancé finds her repulsive. He doesn't want to be with her anymore, and he ends up getting her with her cousin instead. So she starts wearing this mask to hide her face, the one she's holding in the picture. It's kind of like a monkey mask, and she comes across this guy here who is an Ayakashi hunter, and he gets into like a fight with an Ayakashi, and she's there, and her mask gets knocked off, and he sees her face, and he finds her very beautiful and very alluring, and he decides to like help her out with her curse and stuff. This one sounds very good. I actually really like the sound of this one. This is probably one of my most anticipated ones. It sounds very good. So yeah, highly looking forward to this one. I like fantasy romance. And next, we have our first BL for the list. and that is 0.9895833333333. That is the full title, but on the front it just says 23.45, which is, I think, the time. This one's by Ohana. It's coming out from Kodansha on March 11th. This is like a bittersweet BL. It's about a guy who can see ghosts, and while crossing a pedestrian bridge he comes across this ghost who's standing on the edge of the bridge, and he like accidentally bumps into him, and he kind of becomes attached to him and starts haunting his apartment, and he's like very chatty, very talkative, because he hasn't really spoken to anyone in such a long time. So yeah, they start basically living together because he's haunting him now, but every night at exactly 23:45, hence the title, he relives the moment of his death where he's kind of forced back to the bridge and has to fall off it again and again every night. So this guy is now invested in finding out how he died. Was it murder? Was it suicide? Was it an accident? And he's trying to like figure out the cause of the death to maybe help him move on to the other side. So yeah, it sounds like more of a sad, more bittersweet BL, which I'm here for. I'll probably enjoy this one, hence why it's on the list. The next one is like a supernatural BL, and that is a tiny picture. Let me just zoom in. This one is Blood Night Market by Chise Ogawa, who is the author of a bunch of stuff which I've currently forgotten. It's coming out from Seven Seas on the 7th of January. Let me just go check this shelf for a minute. Did she write? Yeah, I currently can't figure out what she wrote, but it is an author I've read from before. I just can't remember what it was she wrote. This is a vampire BL about a city in which vampires like buy blood from like markets, and the humans are more than willing to sell it. And this guy is from this guy is from like this committee which makes sure there's no illegal dealings going on, and it's all like legal and stuff. And he's investigating the market when he meets this vampire who desires his blood, which before then was seen as undesirable. So he's like the first person to desire his blood, and they kind of get wrapped up in each other. Yeah, this one sounds supernatural, maybe a bit actiony with like BL. I don't know the age ratings for any of these, but some of these might be explicit. This one specifically might be. So yeah, looking forward to this one. I like vampires. It's like supernatural. It's BL. This one sounds very good. There's actually a lot of BL I'm excited for, and I had to like limit myself on which ones I put on this list. So I've decided to go with the more interesting sounding ones, or the ones I've been told are very good. So anyway, next. This is Yatamomo. This one's actually pushed back. This one was meant to come out this year, but it's been pushed back to April 10th of next year. It's by Harada, and it's coming out from Kuma Publishing, which is Denpa's BL imprint, also known as Faku's BL imprint. But this is a BL about a guy called Momo who's like, he's described as being a himbo and he has a lot of sex, and a guy called Yatta who's like tall but sultry, something like that. I can't remember what it said, but yeah, he finds him in a bathroom doing after sex cleanup, and because he's like kind, he invites him round to like spend the night at his place, and he kind of becomes attached to him. And then his ex-boyfriend shows up, I think. Anyway, I've heard this one is I've heard some things about this one that people say it's like a good one, and I was interested in it when it was first announced, but obviously it's been pushed back, so now coming out next year. I can't remember if it was on last year's list or not. It might have been announced after I did the rest. Anyway, next, moving away from the BL for a bit, there will be more later on. We have On and Off Work-Life Imbalance by Shinosuke Kanazawa. And this is coming out from Square Enix on May 20th. This one follows a girl and a guy who work together in a company, but after hours they like to dress up. The guy likes to dress up as a Rarita, so this character here is the guy and this is the girl, and she likes to dress up in like gothic punk style. And they meet after work, but they don't recognise each other, so they like form a bond and a friendship outside of work as the way they are, not realising that they actually work together in the same company. Yeah, this one sounded interesting. And obviously, they work together, they don't realise it. It's a romance. So it's just more like a office romance slash outside of office romance. Yeah, this one sounded good. It's 70s. It's Square Enix. Square Enix got quite some good announcements throughout this year. Anyway, the next one on the list is Love in the Palm of His Hand. This is by Rinteku. It's also coming out from Square Enix on May 20th, so same date as the other one. This one is about an aspiring, no, he's not going out of date, an aspiring actor who's good at conveying emotion through body language, and he wants to be an actor. But his career's not going too well, he's not really getting picked up until he meets a guy who has congenital hearing loss. And through him, he's taught sign language, and he's surprised how good he can convey his words and his emotions just through his body. And they kind of like form a bond through that. This cover is very nice, by the way. So yeah, it's like a BL romance between an aspiring actor and a guy with hearing loss. So a bit like I Hear This on Spot, only he's not an actor, he's a college student. Yeah, this one sounded very good. I said Square Enix had some good announcements this year, this being one of them. The next one though is not Square Enix, it is Yen Press, and that is a Hell is Dark with No Flowers. This is the manga adaptation. I think there is a light novel. I think the light novel is already out. But the art is by Ruka Todo and the story is by Yoru Michio. And this is coming out on January 21st. And this is like a horror supernatural series revolving around a guy who's involved with like the supernatural. And he meets this other guy who like works at an agency where they have to like eradicate the supernatural or something like that. I said I won't remember all these descriptions and I forgot most of this one. But yeah, it's a horror. I don't know if it's a BL, but it's like two guys working with the supernatural. I've heard it's good. I've heard that the horror's good in this one, and yeah, I'm interested in grabbing it. Again, I can't remember the full description, but I know it involves like the supernatural. And next, this is another one that's been pushed back and pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And that is Day Were 11 by Moto Hagio. This is supposedly coming out from Denpa on March 6th. But this has been supposedly coming out from Denpa for like, I think 3 years now. And they just keep pushing and pushing and pushing it back. But according to Denpa, it is at the printers now and they do have like proof copies. So maybe it will actually come out this time. This is the only one on this list that I have read before because this is one of the stories in the 4 Shoujo Stories collection. And I did really like it. And I would like to own this hardcover edition if it finally makes it out. But this also includes the sequel, which I haven't read because the original collection didn't include that. So Day Were 11 is a classic sci-fi shoujo series about 10 students at this like space academy who need to do this test to graduate where they're put onto this spaceship and set adrift into space, and they have to like get back to like the academy in order to complete their training and graduate. But when they get onto the ship, they realise there's actually 11 people there and there's one person not meant to be there, and then things on the ship start going wrong. They kind of have to figure out who is the extra who's not meant to be there, and it was very good. I very enjoyed it, and if Dempa finally gets this out this time, I'll be happy, but I'm not holding out hope, because the amount of times this has been pushed back, it's very likely it'll happen again. But I'm putting it on here anyway. The next one on the list is, where am I up to in the number? Is Spacewalking with You. This is a shonen slice of life comedy series about two neurodivergent teenagers forming a bond over astrology. We have the one guy who is unable to concentrate on his work or school, and he's been pegged as being like not very intelligent, and his parents think that he's going to get nowhere in life, and he forms a bond with this other guy who's considered to be weird and like not very good at communicating, and they form a bond, and they bond over astrology and become good friends. I don't think it's BL, with it being a shonen. I think it's just friendship. But yeah, this one sounded very good. I like the fact that the characters were neurodivergent, and I'm interested to give this one a read. Very looking forward to it. I also heard very good things that it is quite very good representation for neurodiversity, so I'm very looking forward to giving it a read. And the next one on the list is Rosa Maiden by Peach Pit. This is coming out from Seven Seas on March 4th. This is the one I've seen the anime for. Rosa Maiden is, I think, a seinen. It might be shonen, but I think it's seinen. Series about a boy who, after being bullied in school, becomes a shut-in, and his favourite thing to do is just online shopping. He just orders a bunch of shit online and gets it over to his house. And his sister is trying to convince him to like go back to school and stuff. I think he's in middle school. It might be high school. But one day he receives this package, and inside is this living doll called Senku. And she is participating in this event called the Alice Wars. And she asks him to become her servant, which he doesn't want, but then he reluctantly agrees after having to witness her fighting against other dolls in this war. And the winner of this Alice War gets to become Alice. And I think that means they get to become real. I'm not sure. The anime didn't get that far. But yeah, I enjoyed the anime, and I'm looking forward to giving this manga a read now that Seven Seas is doing a re-release of it, because this was originally published by Tokyo Pop, but I don't know if they ever finished it. Yeah, next we have Dogs and Punching Bags by Kaoru Ozaki. The reason it's on this list is because it's Kaoru Ozaki. I tend to like her stuff. This is coming out from Kodansha on January 21st. This one's a 34-year-old woman who moves back to her island town, where she's going to attend the end of life of her alcoholic father. And once there, she meets this younger guy who's kind of obsessed with saving people and animals, and that obsession comes with something that happened to him in the past. That's all the description says. It sounds interesting. It sounds like a Kaoru Ozaki work, and I like those, so it's on the list. Next, we have another Square Enix title, and that is The Emperor's Caretaker by Ichiha Hiragi and Aya Shotaro, and art by Haruzuki Yoshimura. And I obviously couldn't be asked to write all that down, because in my notebook I just put look at cover for the author. And this is coming out from Square Enix on March 4th. This is a historical, ancient Chinese, like, fantasy romance. We have this woman who's really good at like looking after children and playing music. And she's in like, there's an emperor, but the emperor's like 5 years old, and he wants like a new concubine or consort or something like that, and she's like not selected to be his concubine because that would just be weird because he's 5, but she's approached by this guy on the cover who I think is a statesman, something like that, and he asks her to become the emperor's caretaker, so she'll be the one who's like looking after him. And I think she like likes this guy. Yeah, this one, it's like historical Asian setting. I prefer historical romance when it's in an Asian setting rather than in a Western setting. So this one sounds good. It sounds like something I'd enjoy. And the cover looks nice as well. So it's Square I think this is the last Square Enix one. There might be more. Anyway, next we're moving on to another BL. This is a terrible quality picture because I couldn't find a better one. This is Shout Out Loud My Heart by Yoga. I can't read my own writing. Is that an O or an R? Yes. That person. Yoga. Maybe it's an E. Yes. And it's coming out from Kodansha on June 3rd. No, June 17th. This is a BL, like one of them is a musician, and it's a BL that revolves about music, so I thought, given vibes, so that's why it's on the list. It one's he's like a rock musician, and he like the other guy is I can't remember. But yeah, they form a. I think it's just the one shot, and I think it's like smutty. But yeah, I put it on the list because it's a BL that revolves around music. That's the main reason. Oops, did I go too far, or was that correct? No, that's correct. This next one is also a terrible quality picture, but again, I could not find a better one. This is Raw, A Star in the Abyss by I. Okaru. This is coming out from Kodansha on June 3rd. I can't remember if this is a Josei or a Seinen. But this is a drama series that is said to be for fans of Burn the House Down and Guilty. I think this one's by the author who did Life and Limit. It's about a girl who has like a normal life in this quiet town, until one day like a film crew comes to town and they're filming this TV show film, something like that, and she gets to be an extra in the background, and then after that some woman shows up after watching the film claiming that she is her legitimate daughter, and then she's whisked away to live in this like big estate with this family she doesn't know, and they're all like actors and they're involved. She kind of gets involved in like this twisted life and stuff like that, but it sounds very good. Yeah, it's, I think by the art style it's by the author of Life and Limit, but I can't 100% confirm that right now. Yeah, I thought it sounded good. And next we have Bride of the Death God. Oh, this is another Square Enix one. There was more Square Enix. This is by Hako Ichiro, and it's coming out on September 9th. This one is, I really like the cover for this one. This is a like dark fantasy romance which revolves around a girl who was being like ignored and mistreated her whole life. And she has recently been visited by the Grim Reaper because she's only got 7 days left to live. And normally when people are visited by the Grim Reaper, they like beg for their lives, but she just says, "Thank you for coming for me." and then he kind of like grows attached to her, but he only has 7 days with her until he has to like reap her soul. So this one sounded very interesting. It sounds like it's probably going to be like more of a melancholic, bittersweet one, but I quite enjoy those. Next we have Takahashi from the Bike Shop. This is a josei romance about a woman who is bullied at work and harassed by her boss, who one day has to take her bike into the shop to get fixed, where she meets Takahashi and she kind of like starts a romance with him. It's by Arie Matsumushi and it's coming out from Yen Press on January 21st. It's a josei. I want to support josei. This one sounds interesting. It's like an office romance, but they don't work in the same place. So more like just an adult romance, basically. Next, we have The Failure at God School by Natsu Hyuga, who did the like manga of the Apothecary Diaries. This is her shoujo series. It's coming out from Yen Press on March 18th. This was actually on my license wish list. This is the first manga from my license wish list to ever get licensed. So that was very exciting. This is like, it's about a world where people called Himikos have like power, and they are sanctioned by the government to go to these like special god schools where they can, once they've graduated, they get to become gods. And this girl, she works at the shrine, which is currently like falling apart and going under, and her brother is like a shut-in Himiko, and he like refuses to do anything, but she's just ordinary. She's not got any powers or anything, so she decides to sneak into the school for gods by pretending to be a Himiko in order to like become relevant so she can like save her shrine. But being a normal person in a school for gods is not going to be easy. Yeah, I really like the sound of this one. It's a Hanata Yume title. I tend to like Hanata Yume titles. And yeah, it was on my license wish list. So yeah, looking forward to it. This is one of my most anticipated. Next, this is like one of like 2 or 3 light novels, but yeah, this one's a light novel. And this one is called Miri Ribs in the Cat's Eyes. It's by Tiger Shiki, and it's coming out from Yen Press on February 18th. It's about a boy who can see people's pasts by looking into their eyes. And he meets this cat, and when looking into the cat's eyes, he sees this girl who can see the future. But I think she's also in the future. Like, he's seeing into the future through this cat's eyes, and he's seeing this girl who can see the future, which is strange because he normally sees the past looking into eyes, but when looking into the cat's eyes, he's seeing her in the future. And she can see the future. And she tells him that in the not too distant future, there's going to be a series of events at his school where people are going to end up murdered. And she wants him to like try and stop that, which he agrees to, but he's also wondering where she currently is in the present day, because obviously he can see her in the future. We don't know how far in the future, but he's wondering where she's at in the present day and who she actually is. And this one sounds very interesting. It's a light novel. I think it's just a one-shot. But yeah, it's on the list. And we're on to the second page, which actually has more on it than the first page, so we're almost halfway through. The next one is If It's You, I Might Try Falling in Love by Maru Kubata. This is coming out from the Empress on March 18th. This is a BL high school romance. It's like, I think they were friends as kids, and then they recently met up again in high school and like are becoming close. It's supposed to be just like a sweet, more sort of realistic high school romance between these guys. I wasn't originally going to put this on the list, but everyone who I heard mentioning this one said it is very good. It's like an excellent BL. So I was like, if everyone says this is excellent, I'm gonna go check it out. So next we have Pet Shop of Horrors. This is a re-release by 70s by Matsuri Akino. It's come out on February 11th. No, it's February 4th. I keep looking at the wrong entry in the book. But yeah, this is about a pet shop that sells supernatural creatures as pets. And in this town, and then this detective realises that there's a lot of mysteries and crimes going around, and they all seem to revolve around the pets from the shop. So he goes to the shop to investigate and finds the owner, who's mysterious as his pets, and he was like refusing to talk. But yeah, there's rules to these pets, and people can only buy them if they obey certain rules. And yeah, it sounds good. It's a josei, it's a horror. I'm gonna pick it up. Next, we have a shoujo. This is another Kodansha title that's getting released by 7Seas physically. Kodansha has it digitally. This is Keiko Washita's Choking on Love, and it's coming out on February 11th. This is the author of Living Room Matsunaga-san. This is a college romance about a girl who meets this musician, and like she wants to have like an ordinary college life, and she doesn't want to be like, I think, unless I'm getting the description for this one mixed up with another one, but yeah, I think he's a musician, and like he gets involved with her even though she's not really interested in like romance or something like that. I might be getting the description for this one mixed up with another manga. As I said, I read these descriptions back to back before I started the video, and some I don't remember as well. It's a college romance by the author of Matsunaga-san, and I have heard good things about this one. Okay, next we have a manhwa. This is The Missing O by Face Park, and this is coming out from 7Seas on January 29th. This is a smutty 18 plus romance about a girl who was in an incident and she was rescued by this guy, but what she remembers the most isn't the rescue, but they went to bed afterwards and had sex, and it was like the best sex of her life. And then he just disappeared and she doesn't know his name or anything, so now she's been trying it on with other guys ever since to try and like recreate the perfect orgasm, but it's never worked, and so now she's like wants to find this guy so she can like have another perfect orgasm with him. It's smart. I'm gonna read it. There's also a manhwa, so it's probably in full colour. Full colour smart. This one, X1, is another Hanata Yume title. That is It Takes More Than a Pretty Face to Fall in Love. This is by Karen Anzai, and it's coming out from 7Seas on February 25th. This is about a girl who like has a face fetish, and there's her favourite like social media influencer, the green haired dude, goes to her school, but she's never actually met him until she meets him, and he's at danger of being expelled. So she decides to help him out by becoming the school's social media person. So she like takes all the pictures and uploads all the pictures to the school's Instagram account, and she concentrates on like helping him out and like becoming his social media manager basically. And obviously they fall for each other. It's Hanata Yume, it's high school romance. I'm gonna check it out. This next one is a josei series called Gene Bride. This is only 3 volumes long, as far as I know. This is by Hitomi Takano. It's coming out from 7Seas on April 8th. I think most of my most anticipated are from 7Seas. It's a josei drama sci-fi, it says. I don't know where the sci-fi comes in, but it's about a woman whose work is constantly underappreciated and undermined at work because she's a woman, and she recently met up with somebody she knew from high school who apparently participated in this thing called the Gene Bride experiment. It's where people were matched up as couples based on their DNA, and apparently he was matched with her, but she has no memory of this. But meeting him kind of awakens like her past, and she like something to do with like this experiment, and I don't think this one is a romance. I think it's just a drama. But yeah, it's a josei. I want to support josei, and this one sounded interesting. So yeah, I'm going to be picking this one up. And I think it's only 3 volumes on. Next, we have this one is Teppeki Honeymoon by Mecha Tanaka. And this one's coming out from One Piece Books on July 8th. This is a high school romance again, I think. Or it might be, there might be college students, they might be adults, I'm not 100% sure, but she is like super strong, and then she gets involved with this guy who's a bodyguard but also the heir to like a security agency, and then he becomes her fiance. For some reason, I don't know why, it's like a marriage of convenience thing, and she has to help him with something. Again, I don't really remember in the description 100%, but it sounded good. It's a One Piece Books shoujo. One Piece Books doesn't bring that much out, so yeah, I wanted to give this one a go. It sounded interesting with like the bodyguard security company thing. Anyway, next is, what was this? Lion Hearts by Mita Ori, which is the author of Our Dining Table. This is coming out from 7 Seas on July 22nd. This is a one-shot BL about childhood friends that reunite as adults and like fall for each other. It's described as being very sweet and wholesome, a bit like Our Dining Table. So yeah, I liked Our Dining Table. The cover for this one is also very appealing. So yeah, this got put on the list due to the author and the cover, basically. Next we have Snow Angel by Haruka Chizu. This is the other Viz Media one, and this is coming out on July 3rd. I think this one's only like 3-4 volumes as well. It's not very long. But this one's about a girl who lost her father as a child. She always had a very happy, carefree childhood until the death of her father. And then she was made to live with her grandparents, and her grandfather has dementia, and she is made his caretaker. She's the one who has to look after him, and her grandmother is very like unappreciative, and she's not very happy with her life. She doesn't like where she's at right now, and then her childhood friend knocks on the door, and she's reintroduced to him, and he kind of convinces her to start living for herself more, rather than just being tied down by her grandparents and having to be the carer of her grandfather. Yeah, this one sounded good, and it's short, and it's like one of the few shoujos from Viz Media that I was interested in this year. I'm also going to check out Firefly Wedding from Viz Media, but because it's yandere's, I don't tend to like yandere, so I didn't put it on the list, because I will give it a go, but I don't know if 100% if I like that one, so it won't be on the list. But this one, on the other hand, sounded really good. Now we're going to get into the first of many steamship titles. They're not all going to be back to back, but I think there's like 9 of them. Because 7 Seas had a field day with steamship announcements this year. They like announce one every week. Some weeks they announce 2. And other than the Omegaverse one, I'm probably going to end up reading them all. So this first one is called Loving Moondog by Nanpi Yamada, and it's coming out from 7 Seas on February 18th. This one is about a dog groomer who takes in a Doberman who turns out to be a dude, and he transforms into a guy, and they get it on. Basically, it's a woman and a dog man, and it's steamship. You can guess what happens. Doesn't really need that much of a description. It's smart. Same with this next one. This is Sex Drive. This is also steamship. This is by Monika Toyama and Fumi Toyamura. This is coming out on July 8th from steamship, obviously. This one is about a woman who gets this condition where she comes into heat, and it like affects her work because every month she's coming into heat, and she gets fired. And then she starts working for this sex espionage company which I don't know what sex espionage is. Do they spy on people having sex, or do they spy on people by having sex with them? Either way, she joins a sex espionage company, and this guy mentors her because she knows nothing about espionage, or that much about sex for that matter. So he starts mentoring her, but he won't, like, fulfill her desires. But they kind of, like, growing closer, and yeah, it's steamship with espionage. This next one is At Your Service in Another World. This is a isekai where a woman is isekai'd. She's been in this world for like a couple of years. I think she's in her 30s. And she's like settled down. She's like working as a receptionist in a magical night agency or something like that. And one day she's approached by either the prince or the king, I can't remember, to service one of the knights, this guy on the cover. But he's a butthole and she hates him, but she agrees. And because she likes seeing him come undone under her in bed, she likes seeing the way that she can, like, affect him in bed, even though she can't stand him because he's a butthole. But yeah, it's isekai. I don't usually like isekai, but it's steamship, so I'm gonna give it a read. And this one is by Pan Yamada, Neko Iyashigichi, and I'm pretty sure it's based on a light novel. I don't know the release date because I forgot to write it down. But I think it's around about February, March. This next one is not steamship. This one is Stardust Family by Aki Poroyama. It's coming out from Yen Press on May 27th. And this one sounds really interesting. This one's about a futuristic world where it's illegal to have children unless you're first approved by a child. So there's this company made up of children where they interview potential parents and give them the okay whether they can have children or not. So this world is like free from child abuse or neglect because the only people allowed to have children are those people that children say it's okay for them to have children. So this boy on the cover, he works for such an agency and he vets parents. But there's one set of parents he comes across, which are these two people, who they're unlike anyone else he's ever seen. And there's kind of like something going on there. And it sounds like it's kind of like a mystery sort of thing. And it sounded really interesting. So yeah, it's on the list. Did I say who wrote this? I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, I think I did. The next one. This is the 13-foot print by Kei Sanbei, who you might recognise by the art, did Erased, and For the Kid I Saw in My Dreams, and Island in a Puddle. This is another mystery series, which he tends to do. It's coming out from Yen Press on May 27th. This one is about a couple whose son has just been released from the hospital, and they're like having like a normal life together, until one day a postcard gets sent through the door. And on this postcard, it details events that are going to happen to them the next day. So, and every day they get one of these postcards which are detailing events that are going to happen the day after, and they're trying to like figure out what's going on, and also try to stop some of these events and help some of the people like that are mentioned in them. But yeah, I like this author's works. I like mystery. I'm gonna read this one. Yes. Next. This one is The Wolf's Daughter, and it's coming out from Yuki Kodana from Seven Seas on June 24th. This is a josei drama coming of age series about a high school girl who finds out she's actually a werewolf. And she was wondering her entire life why her sense of smell is better than that of a person, and why she craves warm meat, and why she has great horrific abilities. But it turns out it's because she's a werewolf, and yeah, it's got a cute wolf on the cover. And I haven't read a bunch of, other than Coyote, I haven't really read a lot of werewolf manga. That's why it tends to be more vampire manga. But yeah, I like werewolves. I like wolves in general. This wolf is cute. It has wolves in it. I'm gonna read it. I've also heard it's very good. This next one is a manhwa. It's coming out from Ise Press. It's called Murderous Ruerin's Candlelit Dinner. The author is Ol Mukbru, and it's coming out on May 20th. This is a historical BL, possibly like mystery horror sort of vibes to it. But this guy lives in this town where people are being murdered, but he doesn't really care because he's like a struggling author and he's like living paycheck to paycheck, and he's still, the murders are not his top priority basically, and he ends up, this guy with the blonde hair is Llewellyn, and he moves in next door and he's constantly sitting outside his house peeling onions or something like that. And he finds him weird, but he doesn't realise just what exactly is going on until he's invited to a candlelit dinner, and things start to come into place, and he's like, is he the murderer? Is he a detective? We don't know. I'll have to read to find out. It sounds good. This next one is also a BL coming out from Easy Press called Radio Storm. I think this one is horror. It's coming out from Team S&S. From Easy Press, and I don't know when the release date for this one is. I couldn't find it on Amazon, but it's probably going to be here like around about May as well. But this one is about a future where there's like an apocalypse, and humans have developed supernatural abilities, and this guy has an enhanced sense of smell or hearing, and he needs to find someone called a caller who is a person who can enhance his abilities. But once he finds his caller is not interested in him, but he's kind of besotted with the caller. But they need each other to survive, so they kind of have to like stick together. I think this one's just 4 volumes long. It sounds interesting. It's like got the horrorness to it. This next one is another manhwa. This is Bastard by Yu Gun-chan Hwang and Korn B. Kim. This is a Korean webtoon. It's a very popular one. It's by the same author as Sweet Home, which has the live action on Netflix. It's coming out from 7 Seas on May 6th. It's about a guy who, like, he's bullied in school and he's like a shut-in. And he's like never been very weak, but actually he lives with a serial killer, and that serial killer is his father, and it's like a horror revolving around that. And yeah, I've heard great things about this one. It's like one of the most popular webtoons around, and maybe Sweet Home, which is also by the creator, will get licensed too if this one does well. But yeah, I like horror. I'm gonna read it. This next one is more Steamship, of course. This is Seduced by the Demon King by Foxy's, and it's coming out from 7 Seas on, of course it's 7 Seas, it's Steamship, on April 8th. This is about a woman who's, like, not really happy in her life. Like, her relationship and career are going nowhere. But one day when she's walking home, this demon lord kind of appears in front of her and is like, you in a past life were, like, this saint who, like, was my enemy. And she doesn't remember any of this because she doesn't remember her past life. But he's like, this is like, I'm gonna get revenge on you by seducing you. And then, like maybe killing you, dumping you, I don't know what his plans are, but he wants to seduce her to get revenge on her for being a saint in a past life. And yeah, she's like, well, it's better than the life I have now. Go right ahead. So yeah. It sounds interesting. It's Steamship. This next one is also Steamship. This is Shindo-kun's Tight Squeeze, Help Us Against His Alluring Touch by Tsunao Natsuno, coming out on June 3rd. This is about a confectioner who has to train the new hire, but he doesn't want to be trained, and he's also better at her work and everything, doing the confections, doing everything basically, and she's like annoyed at that. But then they go out to dinner together and they end up in bed, and now she has to put up with him in more ways than one basically. It's Steamship, and it's like office romance Steamship, so I'm gonna read it. Next we have more Steamship. I love the cover of this one, it's very nice. This is You Will Become My Wife by Mijuno you know, this person and Fumi Takamura is coming out on June 10th. This is about a couple who are engaged, and he like fulfills her every desire in the bedroom when they have sex, but he's not very emotionally open with her, and she kind of wants more of that from him, but he's very shy and reserved, and he finds that difficult. Though like she wants him to open up to her and more than just having sex with her. But the cover's very nice. Again, it's Steamship Office Romance. Nice cover. All I need to know. Next we have more Steamship. And this is Adored by an Elite Officer. This is the final Steamship, by the way. By Murasaki Nishino and Jima. I can't read my writing sometimes. GM Dawara is what I think it says, but I highly doubt that's correct. This is coming out on May 20th. This is a romance where I think she's reunited with a childhood friend, and the childhood friend's in the special security force, so he's like really strong and buff. And he asks her to marry him. And she does, and he's a very attentive husband, he's very sweet, and he's also good at sex. That's all. And I think it's only one volume, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's Steamship. It's smart. It sounds like it's just going to be smart. Oh wait, it is more than one volume, because there's a one right there on the cover. But yeah, I'm going to read it. It's Steamship. I know I said I needed to cull some from this list, but I couldn't cull any Steamships because I needed to include them all. Anyway, next. This is Two Guys at the Vet Clinic by Shino Nome from 7 Seas on the 22nd of July. It's coming out. It's a BL that takes place in a vet clinic, so that's why I put it on the list. There's like the vet who helps this guy's cat. The guy falls for him, so he decides to get a job at the vet clinic. And it's like, it's an age gap, but I think they're both adults, because obviously they both have a job at the vet clinic. But yeah, Animals Vet Clinic, that's why I put it on the list. I think it's just a one shot. 2 more. Almost done. We might get this video to just an hour. This is a new josei called I'll Forget You Starting Today Senpai by Megami Yamaguchi, and it's come out from 7 Seas on May 27th. Yeah, the 7 Seas definitely dominated the announcements this year. A josei series about this woman who reunites with her high school boyfriend, but he doesn't remember ever dating her, and now he's kind of seducing her, but she's kind of not interested because she remembers they dated in high school, but he's saying things about high school that she doesn't remember. Obviously he knows they went to school together, but he doesn't remember dating her, and she kind of just wants rid of him, basically, I think. Yeah, it's a josei again. I want to support the josei. We don't get much, so I need to read what we do get. And then finally on the list is the final one, and this is the other light novel, and that is The 12 Kingdoms. This is a re-release. This was originally released by Tokyo Pop, I think. But this is The 12 Kingdoms. It's by Fuyumi Ono and Akihiro Yamada, who is like, I think, the same person who did the novel for Ghost Hunt and also Shiki, which are both horror. This is a fantasy isekai. Coming out from 7 Seas on the 1st of July. It follows a girl who gets isekai'd into a fantasy world and gets involved with like deadly beasts and political intrigue and like warring factions and stuff, and yeah, she has to like survive in this world while also finding out something about her identity. But yeah, it's a popular one. I think it was one of the most best-selling shoujo light novels in Japan at one point. I know it was very popular at one point. But yeah, it has an anime. The anime's been on my watch list for years, but I haven't actually ever watched it. But yeah, I'm going to check out the light novels when they come out next year. And that is it for the list of everything I'm looking forward to reading in next year, minus the ones I had to cull. But yeah, these are most of the most anticipated ones. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. And what are your most anticipated reads for next year? Are some of these sound good to you too? Or are they your most anticipated reads completely different? So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you after Christmas for my top 10 reads of this year. So yeah, look forward to that, and goodbye.